This looks terrible, rough, uneven, almost damaged. If this is all you saw, you'd probably assume something is wrong with this coin. But this coin is still mint state, still uncirculated, and it still has full luster. Nothing about this surface disqualifies it, even though that last image looked kind of rough. And the reason why comes down to one thing: luster. What it actually is, what you're really seeing, and how it actually works in grading. Now, look at both of these coins. They both have luster. They are both uncirculated. Both reflect light. At a glance, they look very similar. But they are not the same. And this is where most people get it wrong. One of these coins will stall in lower mint state. The other will grade higher. But if you're focused on brightness or how clean it looks, you won't see why. So instead of looking at brightness, we need to look at how the surface behaves, how light actually moves across it. As we zoom in, the surface starts to change. It's not flat. It's not smooth. It has structure. And that structure is what creates the luster you see. Light interacts with that structure, and that's why it moves. It sweeps across the surface instead of sitting still. And it's that motion that graders are looking for. Luster is motion, not just shine. Now let's compare these directly. On the left, the surface flows. It's clean, continuous. On the right, you can see some interruptions. You see breaks in the surface. And this is the difference between what you think you see and what's actually happening. This is what you're actually looking for. These lines of light, this directional movement, this flow across the surface. That's real luster. That's not brightness. And that's not just reflectivity. That's metal structure interacting with light. On this coin, notice how the light flows cleanly. Your eye moves across the coin. Nothing interrupts that movement. The surface feels very unified. On this coin, well, now you can see how the flow breaks a little bit. Light hits these marks and stops. Your eye catches those interruptions. And that is what lowers your grade. Now at this magnification, You can see multiple breaks. The surface feels very fragmented, kind of broken up. And this is where many coins stall. Not because they lost luster, but because of the amount of marks, how severe they are, and importantly, where they're located. Now, take a look at this higher grade coin, mint state 67. This coin is not perfect. It still has marks, but fewer marks, and they're less severe, and they're less distracting. The luster still dominates. Even under magnification, imperfections are still there, but they don't control the surface. The eye keeps moving. Look at how the light flows across the surface. Look at the texture of the metal picking up and refracting that light. That's what gives you the motion. That's what gives the luster its life. Now look at this surface. The luster doesn't behave the same way. The flow is inconsistent or missing entirely. The surface looks flat, artificially disturbed. And this is where magnification becomes powerful. Not for grading directly, but for diagnosing problems. If luster is already altered, the coin may not qualify as mint state, and in fact may very well come back with a details grade signifying cleaned or otherwise altered surface. Luster tells you the coin is still mint state. The presence of luster like this confirms that the surface is intact, but it does not determine the final grade. The final grade is going to come based on surface preservation, the amount of marks, how severe they are, and where they're located. Luster confirms mint state. Surface preservation determines the grade.